I share your pain if you have lost a pet recently through death, but what I want to give you is a way to heal. I want to share with you what I found out when my cat had passed on. For me, it was the summer of 1982, and I had spent most of the day with friends. We went to a pool party and barbecue afterwards, and it was very normal for my cat to be in and out the house because that was her life before she met me. So I wasn't worried about her. But when I returned home, I was heartbroken to find Dawn was lying motionless on my doorstep. I bent down to touch her and realized that she must have been dead for several hours. Her long, fluffy layers of white fur showed no signs of blood or injury. And I'm sure you can imagine, she looked like she was sleeping. And I'll tell you, until that day, I had never held or seen a deceased animal, and a terrible sense of helplessness was what overcame me. There was no way to bring Dawn back at that time, and I knew it, but I was sickened that she died alone. I felt distraught as I carefully picked Dawn up and I carried her through the house. I made my way to the backyard patio and very gently placed her on the chair. Just as you would, I knelt down on my knees to pray. Without warning, a powerful surge of movement started throughout my body. That energy made me feel literally like I was being pulled forward, separated from my physical self. And for a second, I panicked, thinking I was going to just hit the pavement face first. But in reality, I didn't even move a muscle. The physical changes I felt were happening fast, and they were accompanied by, well, what I can only describe as a very loud whooshing sound. And I honestly thought it was going to make me deaf. And then, just as suddenly as all of that began, it just stopped. I could hardly believe what happened next, when then I witnessed a tremendous burst of brilliant white light, and my beautiful white kitten, who was even, more alive, I want to say, than she had been, came out of that blinding glow of white and gold light. I saw Dawn perfectly, and her eyes were sparkling, and I could just see by her facial expression how happy she was, and how, yes, I'm going to say it, how alive she was. My happiness to see her was unlimited, and I told her over and over again, I love you, I love you, I love you. As soon as I understood, right after that, that she had passed into the light, she effortlessly melted back into it, she became one with that gold and white light, and she was gone from my vision. I learned exactly what I needed to know, and what I hope is what you need to know today. I was already stunned by what I had seen and heard and felt, but oh my God, then the intense pulsating energy began rushing through me again. And again, I had no control over the pulsating and the buzzing energy zings through my body. To my continued shock, this time, that power, that energy of light seemed to be threatening to push me backwards onto the pavement. And because I'm still in a human body, even though I was having this supernatural experience, I had that split second thought of, oh my God, I don't want to fall backwards and hit the cement. Well, that loud whooshing noise surrounded me again, and just as it had begun, I'll tell you, it stopped. That ear-splitting sound just abruptly ended, just the same way that feeling of moving backward quickly ended, and suddenly I was reconnected to my body and I was back to normal. I realized there was tremendous compassion from the light, because I felt so guilty that I wasn't home with Dawn. I've witnessed where animals move on after they leave us, after they leave this physical life. Just as we do, they move into the light. Dawn and I received an incredible blessing to be able to say goodbye that day. Animals are first ushered into the divine light until, however that is decided, because I don't have the answer to that. They will then continue on with their life. You don't know, will your horse come back to you as a dog, or will your cat come back to you as another cat? We just don't have the answers to that right now. But the afterlife holds promise of more life. I want to share with you something else that happened with me. I was in New Mexico at the time, and I had about a 6-month-old German Shepherd puppy, and oh my God, she was full of boundless energy. And we were just walking up the street when suddenly this man was walking towards us, and he seemed unstable, kind of like he was staggering. And my sweet little puppy, 6 months old as she was, started to have this little growl, and her fur started to go up. And I was kind of amused by it because I didn't take her very seriously. But when I looked at the man, he looked absolutely, what's the word? Scared. I'll just say he looked scared. And he literally got off of our side of the sidewalk where he would have come in contact with us, and he crossed the street. Well, at first, of course, I thought when anybody would think, really? Are you really that afraid of a little puppy? But then my eyes kind of blinked, and I saw this white horse, like a white stallion, up on her hind legs, and she was facing that man, watching him as he crossed the street. And I gasped, and I thought, oh my God, did he see that? Where did that horse come from? Now, I've been metaphysically inclined my entire life with vision to be able to see beyond the 6 senses, but I had never seen this horse. And when I looked back, there she was facing us, and she literally told me, telepathically now, she told me, I was here to protect you and your puppy. Do you know, I bent down and I held on to my dog, and I had tears streaming down my face, thinking, who am I? I'm not all that important to bring such a miracle to us. And when I looked up, she was gone. So you never know when the miracles were going to come. You just don't, but they do. And I've had miraculous experiences with a butterfly, a sweet, beautiful butterfly who, it seems whenever I think of my friend Sandy, who's passed on, a butterfly will appear. And on this one particular day, a butterfly came and landed on my chest. And another time I had dolphins that came and jumped out of the ocean when I had returned to California. So what I want to really impress upon you are several things. One, of course, there's life after life for our animals, for us. And another thing that guidance is telling me, reminding me to tell you right now, is that just as animals go into the light directly, because they have no sense of guilt or shame and no ego, this is the imprinting they have from God. They immediately go directly into the light. So do our children, so do our babies, and so do our unborn babies. They all go directly into the light, into the love, into the incredible wisdom, and then it's decided what their life experience will be afterwards. Please take heart. I can promise you very little things, but one of those things that I can promise you is there is no death. In the afterlife, there is room for redemption. There is room for forgiveness, for learning, for growing, for healing, for garnering wisdom, wisdom that is beyond your ability to imagine here in the physical realm. So I say, God loves you. You're always going to hear me say it. I'm not ashamed of it. I have been criticized a little bit for saying it so much, but this is a part of who I am. You are loved beyond your imagination. I hope that this video helped you and that you take heart if you've had a loss, any loss in your life. God bless. Thank you.